Hello, and thank you for agreeing to be a board member of a BIA. This role involves overseeing the strategic direction and operation of a municipal board of the city. Your input and your commitment to this position will be essential in guiding the organization over your term. This role is meant to be rewarding, as it allows you the opportunity to give back, with your experience, skills, and time, to the community in which your commercial property resides or your business operates. The purpose of these videos is to walk you through the concepts, procedures, rules, and actions that make up the best practices for overseeing and contributing to a board of a business improvement area. The topics covered will include a brief history of BIAs and OCOBIA, followed by their structure, key roles, and responsibilities. You will also learn about governance and how to run effective meetings. Each video includes a comprehensive list of resources you and your fellow board members can use to become a highly effective organization. In this first video, we will explore the history of BIAs in Canada, their economic impact, and the unique role of OCOBIA, the Association of Ottawa's BIAs. We will also walk you through a list of resources, including provincial and municipal policies available to support you in performing your duties as a director of a BIA. This map shows the 19 current BIAs in Ottawa, west to Carp-in-Canada, south to Barrhaven, east to Orleans, the 7 downtown BIAs, and everything in between. BIAs span the city of Ottawa, serving our large and varied population. You likely recognize your own BIA, as well as others representing the areas where you work or live. How did BIAs come to be, and why were they started? In 1967, Toronto, faced with the proliferation of shopping malls whose presence forced many local shops and shopping districts to close or fall into disrepair, a small group of merchants lobbied the city and the province of Ontario for legislation that would compel businesses to support an elected board of management for their area. The goal was to revitalize local business through the improvement of public spaces and through promotional activities. This idea was adopted, and with its evident success, other areas began doing the same, creating unique and vibrant shopping and entertainment districts across Toronto. Not long after, BIAs began forming in other major cities, and today number in the thousands globally. Ottawa's first BIAs were formed in the late 1970s, and the number has grown to our current total of 19, with the most recent one joining in 2016. All of Ontario's 300 BIAs are guided and covered by the Ontario Municipal Act. So what exactly is a BIA in our current context? A business improvement area is an association permitting commercial property owners and tenants within a defined area to join together and, with the support of the municipality, organize, finance, improve, and promote the area as a safe and attractive commercial district. BIAs tend to represent a small area, generally built around a main street, that has a unique neighborhood character. BIAs help form a strong and distinct image for that local neighborhood and help promote civic improvement. BIAs contribute to local economies through activities such as street and sidewalk maintenance, promoting local shops and tourist areas, hosting festivals and events, investing in crime prevention initiatives, and business recruitment. Though each BIA differs in its character and offerings, these tend to be the 5 focus areas shared by most BIAs. As you reflect on the impact of BIAs in Ottawa, consider some of the following statistics. Our members represent $250 million in commercial property taxes. BIAs invest over $1.2 million in on-street beautification measures. The combined levies that get reinvested into the community total almost $7.5 million. And BIAs host countless events, festivals, and activities that help make Ottawa a great place to live, work, and play. Having previously worked together in a loosely organized fashion, Ottawa's BIAs came together in 2015 to form the Ottawa Coalition of Business Improvement Areas. As the needs of the organization grew, along with the commitment of its members, OCOBIA evolved into a fully funded and staffed organization, run by an executive director who oversees the day-to-day growth of the coalition. OCOBIA works closely with City of Ottawa politicians and senior staff to advocate on behalf of its members at City Hall and work on issues of shared interest. OCOBIA is the unified voice of 19 business improvement areas within urban, suburban, and rural Ottawa, who, when combined, represent more than 6,400 businesses and their 120,000 employees, to advocate and influence policies that affect BIAs and their surrounding communities, protect the interests of BIAs and communicate their impact on local economies and tourism, promote strong, successful, and effective BIAs in the City of Ottawa, implement joint initiatives that benefit groups within OCOBIA on issues and projects, and facilitate the exchange of information, experiences, and ideas among BIAs through a centralized resource. OCOBIA's founders worked together on a unified vision statement that would inform and inspire the work they do for their members. The vision is to build an association that is a respected, proactive advocate and key influencer on issues and policies affecting the economic development and well-being of Ottawa BIAs and the businesses they represent. OCOBIA is governed by a volunteer board of directors comprised of executive directors from various BIAs and board chairs who are members in good standing. The board meets periodically to oversee the organization, to manage the budget, and to support the executive director in their operational and administrative work. OCOBIA generally holds all member meetings every 2 months, as well as informal sessions and weekly updates. OCOBIA has its own set of rules and regulations, which are closely tied to the provincial legislation governing all BIA board members. It is important to understand and be familiar with these policies and this legislation. Most significant are the guiding principles found in the Ontario Municipal Act of 2001, which speak to the establishment and basic legal structure of all BIAs in Ottawa, including the importance of transparency and accountability. Other legislation of note: the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, which stipulates disclosure of pecuniary interests by members of a board. The Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, which allows the right of any person access to board records and restricts the collection of personal information. And the Assessment Act, which states that all real property in Ontario is liable to assessment and taxation. The municipal policies that impact the work of BIAs are BIA Governance Bylaw, which provides standardized governance for BIA boards. The Council BIA Relations Policy, which provides guidance on building respectful relationships between Council and BIA members. The BIA Procedure Bylaw, which provides a consistent operational procedure framework for BIA boards. The Elections-Related Resources Policy, which ensures BIA funds are not used for election-related purposes. And the Code of Conduct for Members of Local Boards, which defines a set of rules, values, and principles that help promote a positive organizational culture. This concludes the first section of the onboarding guide. Before we continue, we want to thank you again for taking on this volunteer role to give back to your business community. In the next video, we will examine the roles and responsibilities of BIAs, as well as the policies and procedures that contribute to effective governance.